Today we are talking with Pontiac youth and parents to talk about the free application for federal student aid, known as FAFSA. The FAFSA application rate has dropped throughout the state of Michigan. And in Pontiac, the FAFSA completion rate is down 27% compared to last year. So during our discussion, we're going to define what FAFSA is, address how to access the application, and discuss some of the barriers or myths youth and parents have, which could be a direct correlation to the decline we're seeing. So before we create a solution to increase FAFSA completion, we need to identify the root cause. So let's listen. Good afternoon. I am Anisha Hanna with the Pontiac Collective Impact Partnership, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives, and I am here today with our youth and parents to talk about FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, and we just want to hear from our youth and our parents directly to see what their input is about the application and if they have any questions or what myth are they hearing to keep students from completing the FAFSA application. So I am so excited to have these youth and parents with us today. So we're going to go in, ask a few questions, have some general conversation, and just keep it real, okay? All right, good. So before I get started, I want to thank each of you for being here today. I appreciate your time. I know it's after school and it's a Friday, so y'all could have been anywhere, so I thank you for taking the time to be here. So before we actually get into FAFSA, how many of you know what FAFSA stands for, what that is? You know, okay. What is it?
Federal
Student aid.
Federal student aid. It basically helps towards college, basically getting money from the government to support college and trade school and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yep. And one of the misconceptions is that I've heard about FAFSA is people think it's only for college. And you just stated that it's for trade school or any post-secondary opportunities out there. So it is an application that you need to fill out by the federal government to help you receive money to pay for college and or trade schools. And this application also gives you access to billions of dollars in grants, in work study, and low interest rate student loans from the Department of Education. And a lot of states use these applications to figure out, one, how much financial aid people will get, and then actually which students really need it. So the free application, as we know it, is being simplified by the federal government. So what that means is they're trying to change it. They're trying to make it easier for students to use. And actually, it won't be ready during the usual time that it is in October. So because of that, so any seniors here today? Yay! So for the class of 2024, you won't even be able to fill out the FAFSA application until sometime in December. So they're making changes to it. And also, there's even conversations being had by legislators about making the FAFSA application mandatory for all high school seniors to fill out. So because those type of things are on the table, we wanted to have a conversation to see how students felt about that and just basically what are your thoughts again about completing the FAFSA applications and parents too. And I know this is really important for parents as I am a mom and I help my son go through this same process. And there's a lot of misconceptions about it. So this information is really important for you guys as well. So again, I thank you for being here with me. The purpose of us doing this is just for me to get your input, and this input may be shared publicly. So do I got everybody? Yes? All right. Okay. So this will, it may be shared publicly and we may use it for promotional materials and just to increase the awareness of FAFSA and to talk about any barriers that are chosen. So I appreciate you choosing to be here with us today. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll ask you some questions and like I said, just be comfortable and we'll just have conversation. So first off, tell me your current educational status. So what grade you're in, college, what have you. So Tell me your name again, who I already know is a senior.
Jamore Johnson.
Okay.
And I go to West Bloomfield High School, and this is my senior year.
All right. Perfect.
My name is Jordan Myers. I'm currently going into my sophomore year of college.
Nice.
My name is Nazir Lucas, and I've completed the first year of Oakland University.
Perfect.
I'll say I am a college graduate, and my name is Jenna Williams, and I am a program director of a youth program.
Thank you.
My name is Jamal Williams. I go to West Bloomfield
Junior.
My name is Michaela Smith. I recent graduate of CMU, and I am a program manager.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nikita Washington Porter. I'm a mom, some college, and I'm just here to support my son in his endeavors.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm glad you are here. So I heard college grad. I heard a year or two experience in college. So you all have had experience filling out the FAFSA applications. For you, have you done the FAFSA application yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. How about you? Have you completed the application yet? No, not yet. Okay. So I know you haven't done it because it's your junior, but for you, have you even thought about the process yet, or?
Yes, I've been told, but over the school year, my counselor's been, giving us a chance to go through the college process, getting us ready for it, asking us questions if we need them, and that's about it.
Okay, good. So for our graduate from college and already attempted college before, so tell me, what parts of the FAFSA form or process did you find challenging or confusing, if at all?
I'll probably have to say the beginning part because technically I really didn't know too much of like how to fill it out or stuff like that. So it was kind of like nerve-wracking for me in the beginning. So I'll probably have to say the beginning part, but I feel like once you actually get in the groove and you have people around you to help you, you will get through it. So.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, I agree with the nerve-wracking part. I think filling out any form of paperwork that's just so detailed out, sometimes you even get distracted and want to come back to it. Then you forget, and then what if the deadline is passed? So I just say it's a lot. It's just so much information, and sometimes you don't even have I had to call my mom, what's my social? Stuff like that. So,
yeah.
And if she doesn't pick up, then I'm okay, I'll get back to it. And then it's weeks, months.
Okay.
And I still don't get back to it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good. Nas, what you going to say?
I'll say pretty much the same thing. When I looked at it, it was kind of weird because I'm what's this here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. I'm Mom, what should I do with this part?
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of nerve-wracking with that too.
Okay.
Okay, good. Were there any specific terms or questions on the application in that first part, particularly that had you a little confused?
Not really.
Okay.
So far, no.
Yeah, I don't remember any.
Okay.
Any technical challenges that you had when filling it out?
Forgetting my username.
Yeah, I was gonna
or
say.
something like that. If it wasn't for Google, remembering your username and password, oh man, that was probably the hardest thing. And then sometimes, again, you just give up because you don't remember certain stuff like that.
Yes. So that is the FSA ID. And so just a note that I just learned this the other day in our meeting, that stays with you forever. So if y'all forgot it then, lock it in your phones, put it somewhere, text it to your mom, something, because even when you're 20, 30 and you ever have to do this application with your kids, they're going to need that same FSA ID number. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you get ready to do your, write it down. All right. So were there any external factors or circumstances that made it hard for you to complete the FAFSA application?
No.
I would say for me, the biggest thing was after filling out the first time, they basically said my counselor said it's kind of pointless because my parents made too much money. So after that, you kind of feel deterred to even fill it out because why waste my time when you all won't give me money anyway? And the problem with that is just because they have money don't mean they want to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids, I know some people have can't, they have other siblings in the house. So like, what are they supposed to do? Well, their parents can't afford to pay for college and the 4 other siblings. Like, so where do, that balance out? Like, as the middle class, like we're getting like punched.
Yeah. And that's, I think, one of those myths that I've heard, or that, and some of us probably have heard too. If you tell them that they made too much money, or your parent, or just the assumption that, oh, my parents make too much money, so I'm not going to fill it out at all. So we've heard that several times, over and over, that is some of the reasons why students won't even try it, because they think, or they assume, that their parents make too much money and they won't.
It's the counselors too that tell us, like the financial aid people literally told me, like, don't even do it. So I will say they kind of make us feel like we shouldn't either. Like, even though if I could give something, I wouldn't know, because I'm trusting that my financial aid person is telling me the truth.
Okay.
So yeah.
Good. And just piggybacking off that question, were there any counselors that helped you guys fill it out? I know that even though you were doing the first part on your own, did counselors or maybe parents or anybody sit down with you to fill it out?
Yeah, my counselor and also my mother, she had helped me out as well.
Okay.
Again, like I was getting back off of, like it's nerve-wracking just for a high school student just to go through the process and do it on your own, but actually having like someone that actually been there and done it, it helps a lot. So,
I agree.
Yeah, my counselor and my mom, we basically had the same exact information. So I mean, it really didn't change. Yeah, my aid didn't really change as much. So
Okay.
Good. So what are your perceptions about the FAFSA application or completing it? Now that you filled it out, you put all that information in there, was it what did you think would happen next?
honestly, I'll say what I was looking forward to would probably be like reaping the benefits, basically. So you went through that whole long process and stuff. So now you're just waiting back on like the letter from the federal government or whatever, basically giving you like your statement of how much money you will receive. That's basically so. Basically, it's hard work of going through the application or whatnot, but actually receiving the actual money and stuff like that, you get to sit back and say, I got that crazy part out the way. So now you get to reap the benefits.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I mean, for me, it was I was like just pretty much expecting grants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, grants. So what do we know about grants? That's the free money that you don't have to pay back, right?
Yeah.
Right. And the loan portion is the part, of course, you will have to pay back. So part of the application, did you feel like, did you understand that you may qualify for grants and you may qualify for loans? Or did you think that this is just all free money that I'm going to get? Or did you understand that there may be some loans that I'm going to have to pay back too based on what they offer?
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was more of just like grants.
Okay.
Like nothing like free loan, nothing with the loans. Just like I thought, oh, free money, like towards my college or post college or anything. So I didn't know about the second part.
Yeah, the loans. Yeah, that part. Like that's the main part. Yeah.
I think for me as a parent, assisting my son filling out the FAFSA, I wanted to make sure I exhausted all of his options.
Okay.
Up until this point, he doesn't have any loans. So that's the great thing. I want him to more so check that grant portion and exhaust the other options that are available to him, other resources that are available, until he comes to a point where it's the end all be all, like now I have to take those loans. Up until this point, he hasn't had to. So I think, and that's only because myself going to college, it's like, okay, I see these statements of money that you owe, and he's only, second year of college. You want him to be free of anything that needs to be paid back at this point. But I just feel like at some point in time, he may have to get a loan. But I want him to know that that's that option that you kind of keep in your pocket until you actually really need it. Up until that point, try to just exhaust all of your resources, financial aid, work study, other things like that to kind of offset what the cost of school would be.
So I know you graduated from college. You've had some college experience, so you knew that we had to do this FAFSA application. So what was your now that you're doing it for your own son, what were your thoughts, or what are a few words to maybe to describe the emotion that, okay, now I gotta do this for him?
Some of the things I was like relief, because I know I didn't have the necessary funds to send him to school, so it was relief, number one. But also, I always had in my mind to be debt free, especially when you're going through that process with your own children. So those are some of the things, number one, that I felt, and then that I kind of wanted to make sure that he was in a space of being debt free up until this point.
Okay.
Well, I
What do you think?
for me, I was blessed, and it sounds like most of you have had the support, whether it be for a counselor or a parent. I had that same thing. My dad was able to help me walk through the process and made it pretty, easy and understandable, because that was actually his field at the time. That's something we did regularly. So I was extremely blessed in that regard. But what I am noticing is that if you don't have like the proper advice from a counselor, if you don't have the proper support or a parent just to sit down, let's do this together, there's things get lost in that. Additionally, I think sometimes parents would want to sit down and help, but they may not have the proper education to do so. So I think bringing education not just to the students, but to parents is very important. We talked about myths.
Yeah.
Where, well, will it mess up my benefits? If I start applying, I don't want to claim this, and this, and then now you take something away from me. Or so there's a lot of stigma and miseducation in regards to those type of things.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna come back to talking about misconceptions and myth, but I do have a question for Ahmad. Being a junior at the high school, so what do you think that this is necessary in terms of for post-secondary? I know you're not a senior yet, but now's the time to start thinking about senior year. So give thought to this type of this information. So what do you think?
I would say it's necessary because, like, even in my own situation, I've been looking at scholarships and age, trying to figure out what I can do to, like, prepare myself for school early. So, yeah, I do think it's pretty much necessary. I feel like it'll help a lot of people, especially if they don't have the money to send their kids to school. I think it'll really benefit them in that way. But I didn't know nothing about it until, like, recently. So I feel like probably, like, getting it out there and explaining it to kids at a younger age. And, like, parents having them start off early will help. Because I feel like just bringing in senior year is kind of too, I wouldn't say too late at that point, but it's kind of like right there. So
Absolutely.
they don't give you time to prepare for it.
Yep.
And then another thing that they mentioned was they didn't really know what to do on it. I feel like maybe like educating people about it will help. And maybe getting the kids like understand what they're getting ready to do. So that way when they get there, they'll be prepared for it.
Excellent. Excellent.
So let's talk more about these misconceptions and myths that you may have heard about FAFSA. Anybody heard anything? Jenna was talking about parents. Sometimes parents think that if they apply for student aid or if they if they give their information, that it could impact them negatively. And we know that's not the case. But what are some of the other things you've heard about FAFSA or
anything?
Like I said, like that whole myth of if you make a lot of money, you will not get money. Like that's just, maybe that's a myth itself, but I feel like that can be talked about more, because those who are making this certain amount of money or in the middle class that's making over like that line where you kind of cut it off, how do you get it out there to the people that's saying like, no, you can still apply, you can still get some money? Because I feel like now, because once she told me that my freshman year, we stopped because she said it was pointless. Like I feel like now I might have missed out on something that I could have probably got because they told me that. So I don't know how you kind of get that out there to tell those that that's not true.
I agree. One of the myths I heard when I was in college and I had financial aid was that this was free money. So when we were in school, we would get what we call refund checks. And so a lot of times that was money that we would live off of, and we thought it was free. So and what happened was that we received financial aid. So once the financial aid, you receive a certain amount. Each year you will receive a certain amount in terms of grant money and in terms of student loans. And so depending on the total amount you receive, once they've paid your tuition and any outstanding balances, then the money's left over was what we thought free money. Well, it's not free money. And in fact, those refund checks that we thought was just the free money it is part of the total loan money that you end up having to pay back. So that was not smart borrowing. And so now that just means all of that free money that I thought, if I had turned it back in, that would be less money than I would be paying back now for my student loans. So that was one of the myths, that they give you free money that don't exist. It's not free at all.
I would say too, maybe like educate them on that, because I just got out of college, so everybody's using their refund checks to go to Miami.
Yeah,
Like
see?
everybody
See?
was spring break. That's what they paid for, and I can tell you right now, nobody knows that until they get out. I feel like maybe it should be some type of conversation like, this is not free. Like, do not go out there spending, because when I tell you all, everybody was in Sam's Club.
We did the same thing.
Buying it up, because it was like, oh, I got $1,000. Like,
Yes.
let's book a trip.
Yes.
And I don't think people know, like, that actually is hurting you more than
It is. It's more, it just goes into it makes your debt bigger, is what it does. So yeah, that's one of the myths. Anything else that you've heard about that could be prohibiting kids from even, or parents even considering filling out the FAFSA applications for their students?
Another one I would say is, like, people just say, like, oh, it's hard. Like, it's hard. Like, that's all I hear is, like, it's hard. Oh, I got to do FAFSA. Like, FAFSA is looked at as, like, oh, I got to do that paperwork. Like, great. Like, that, I think that's another one. We don't really think of FAFSA as, like, oh, my gosh, this is a great thing. And it is. It's great. It's helping you. But, like, nobody talks about it like that. So, yeah.
And I like what you said, Ahmad, that we have to tell kids about it or get this information in front of them sooner. Don't wait till 12th grade year to start talking about, okay, financial aid, this free application for federal student aid, that we need to talk to them sooner. So what do you think about high school, this just being a part of the banner, or this being a part of the communication within the high school? So ninth graders coming in, automatically they'll be familiar with it. Do you think that's too soon, ninth grade, or do you think 10th grade, 11th grade?
I think that's perfect, and I think it should be required to fill it out at school. Like, maybe having if you want to graduate, you have to do it.
Interesting. So as I just mentioned, legislators are talking about making the FAFSA application a requirement for high school seniors, that it becomes part of that senior packet. So one of the things you have to do, besides maybe volunteer hours or make sure you have your credits in this class, is make sure that the FAFSA application is completed. So it's interesting that you say that.
Also make, you saying it's less and less application, but if it's required, then I bet you'll have more people. I mean, they have to do it at that point. If they want to graduate, y'all want to get out of school, you got to do it.
And also truly understanding what you can get from it and how many opportunities we have, like in Michigan alone, for different grants. And cosmetology, like we mentioned, like skilled trades and things. There's other opportunities. And I don't think that's shared enough in the community.
Right. Because a lot of what we hear too is people think it's just for college. So they say, no, I'm not filling it out because I'm not going to college. But they don't realize, like you just said, that just because you fill it out, the grants and the monies that you can receive does not have to only be used for 2 or 4 year colleges. It could be used for some of those trade school programs, any technical type of institutions, definitely cosmetology, barber. It can be used for some of those other fields too. So glad you mentioned that.
I would like to add something. I think the educational portion needs to be conveyed to the parents, because I can remember there was a financial aid like course or something that was at the high school, and it was like myself and maybe 2 other sets of parents. That's also something, because in order for our kids to want to do something they have to have that support and that backing. Like, this is something that's really important. So you mentioning things like the ninth grade, I think it's very vital that coming in as a ninth grader, that's said at that time, like, you know, in order for you to graduate in 4 years, this financial aid piece is going to have to be done. That way it's in their mindset, and that starts getting the parents, okay, they have to come to orientation for their incoming ninth grader. So I believe a part of that orientation should also have information regarding FAFSA. Okay, it's not today, but hey, we need to talk about this at every orientation, 10th grade orientation, 11th grade, senior year. Okay, we talked about this all the way up until this point. Now it's time to put it into action. So the parents, something that's repetitive, you can always remember that. So I think that is something that's very vital, that we need to start introducing it in the ninth grade. We introduce a lot of things at different times, and FAFSA is one of the ones I think that's very important and vital.
Good. Thank you for saying that. And that takes me into my next question. I was going to ask, what resources like workshops, information sessions of these things be helpful to people in knowing how to complete the FAFSA application and what the FAFSA application is?
Or even as a place to go, because a lot of times, if you don't have a home computer or web internet access at home, like I've had to open the building here for families to come in and say, yep, use my laptop, here's my internet. So they do have that opportunity to
Provide those
It's a
resources.
process.
Yeah, it
so Even
is.
just having a place to do it.
Totally. So what changes or improvements would you suggest that they make for the FAFSA application, if any?
Introducing it, like we said, sooner, because if you wait till my senior year, I'm already tuned out. I'm ready to graduate. I do not want to fill out this hefty form. Like, that might be like a change, because I know you probably do not want to sit here with your period for a couple hours or whatever, trying to figure out. You got to run around the house looking for your birth certificate or social security card. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, just introducing it earlier. I feel like the earlier is more embedded into the head, basically. So it's like it's nothing new to them. So just starting it earlier.
Perfect.
So, final thoughts. If there's anything else you want to share about any barriers, any suggestions, we can give some suggestions to our senior over here or to Ahmad, who's in the 11th grade. What would they be if we haven't already discussed it?
I would just empower you to start looking at it now, because you don't want to wait until the last minute to figure out where your funds for, if you are planning on going to college or some other institution, to do it sooner so you'll know what type of funds you need. That way you're not like at the end of, let's say, April or May, trying to figure out where this other couple $1,000s is going to come from. So I would just admonish you to get with your parents and be like, hey, I spoke about this FAFSA thing. Can we get to it so we can kind of figure out what's my next steps? And to you too. You brought up a wonderful point. The earlier the better. So implement that in your own.
And keep in mind scholarships. Even though the FAFSA application is one resource, check around. There's so many community organizations that offer scholarships. So now is the time to start listening. I know school just started for you, but this is when you tune up your ears to see who has scholarship applications out here and when are they. And there's no limit to how many that you can apply for. So I would say definitely look for scholarship applications too, and then don't forget the FAFSA. Yes, get all your information when you say that. Get your information first for the application so you're not running around trying to figure out where it is. And have your mom, have your support system be there to help you. All right. Did we have any other questions? Did we learn something new about FAFSA, or was this helpful to you? Okay, you guys gave a lot of great information, things that we talked about before, things that I've heard. So it confirmed everything that we've talked about the application. One of the things I'll share that in the city of Pontiac, when we looked at the FAFSA application rate, I may have mentioned this earlier, it was down to 27%. So hopefully with information that you've shared today, that we can put out to the community, and the recommendations that you gave can help us to get the word out there and definitely help us to increase the FAFSA application, because like I said, it is an indicator as to if kids are planning or thinking beyond high school. And we want every child, especially in the city of Pontiac, to think beyond high school and to have some form of post-secondary success. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you sharing your Friday after school with me, and I look forward to seeing y'all soon. All right, thank you.
Yeah.